สวัสดีครับ I'm Point from ค้นพบ Let's talk about insomnia today. This is a topic that I've been meaning to discuss for a while now. The topic of insomnia, sleeping problems. Why is it that you can't fall asleep at night? Why is it that somebody struggles to fall asleep at night? And I think to get the most out of this topic, it is best to split it into two parts or two videos. And here today in part 1, we'll discuss the reasons behind it in order to develop a bigger picture, a more clear understanding of what's going on here, especially the psychology behind it. And number 2, in part 2, next week, we'll talk about ways that we can start to practice or implement various practices in order to finally combat and overcome this sleeping problem once and for all. So let me begin by presenting it this way. Let me ask you this question. Think about the time when you were able to sleep normally at each and every night, sleep like a baby, and get a good night's sleep. And I understand that for some people that may be a long time ago if you've been struggling with insomnia for years or even decades. But try to bring to mind, what is it like on a night where you're able to get a good night's sleep? A normal, good, restful night. When is it that you fall asleep? At what point or at what moment is it that you really fall asleep? And the answer is quite simple. You fall asleep when you stop trying to fall asleep. It is almost as if you're laying in bed there, relaxed at night, with the lights turned off, and you just kind of relax into it. You kind of just let it go, and you're not thinking too much, not worried, and voila, you're fall asleep. You drift off and fall asleep just like a baby. Next morning, you wake up and had a good night's rest. Now, bring to mind some period in your life where you couldn't fall asleep. You struggle to fall asleep. What do you think is going on through your mind then? Or of the mind of somebody who has insomnia? Obviously, there's so much activity going on in their mind, right? They're thinking about so many subjects all at once. They're thinking about various domains or various aspects of their lives, of their life, or of the lives of the people around them, of their friends, of their family, and they're thinking back and forth, jumping between different aspects of their life, thinking about the job, and now thinking about the car, now thinking about the finances, now thinking about the relationship, now thinking about the health issue, jumping back and forth. The activity just seems to be so restless. So no wonder they can't fall asleep. And when they're thinking so much, they're over-worrying, and now they create anxiety or stress if they're thinking about the past, anxiety if they're thinking about the future, say a presentation at work that they have to do tomorrow or the next week. And understandably, their natural reaction is to try to get this overthinking under control. By what? By thinking even more. By trying to analyze it, by trying to argue with what's going on in their mind, by trying to silence or suppress it, or get those thoughts out of their head by force. But this only breeds more thoughts, and it feels disturbing, and therefore overwhelming. And you look at the clock, and it's been 2 hours now, and you have 5 hours left of sleep. You have 4 hours left before you have to get up in the morning. This only creates more anxious thoughts. Now you're worried about your health. Now you're worried about not having good night's sleep. Now you're worried about, are you going to be able to manage the day tomorrow? Because you got a lot to do on your schedule. And yet it's 3.5 hours before the alarm clock rings. So you notice what's going on here? So I give this analogy. Imagine that your mind is like a computer screen. You've got the internet browser on, and you've got so many tabs opened all at once. You've got 4 tabs for social media, for Facebook. You've got 3 more tabs for Instagram. You've got 2 more tabs open for your work, your LinkedIn page. You've got 5 tabs on YouTube videos that you want to watch or been meaning to watch. You've got a few more tabs open for your email and for your work. And you've got 3 more tabs on some issue that you've been meaning to read up about and study and learn. And you've got another 2 tabs on finding some answer for some health issue that a family member is going through. Or perhaps it's an issue that you need to get something fixed and you want to learn how to do it. You've got 20 or so tabs open. There's a lot going on. And in each of those tabs is running a small program. So no wonder the CPU, your mind, gets overwhelmed. No wonder you struggle to sleep. Because you cannot relax and just drift off. Because these thoughts by nature are trying to control something in some sense. Because the nature of overthinking is simply this. Overthinking or worrying about the future, worrying about the past, revisiting the past, is about wanting control. But really, it's actually an illusion of control. It is almost as if that a disturbed or overly anxious or worried mind thinks to itself that, okay, I have to overthink even more. I have to analyze this issue even more, because if I think about the 1,000 different ways that this event tomorrow could play out, then I'll get some understanding, and if I can get some understanding, I can predict it. If I can predict it, I'll feel in control. If I feel in control, then I can feel restful. Sounds good in theory, but in practice, it only breeds more helpless, unhelpful thoughts. It is therefore an illusion of control. It doesn't really lead to anything meaningful, you see. And now you have stirred up the pond or the pool, so to say, and the dirt has come up, and now you're panicking because the mud will not settle. So, overthinking, overworrying, having all these tabs open, in the analogy of the internet browser, is really about desiring or wanting control over the situation. Now think about this for a moment. Why would we want control over some external situation if you feel powerful in yourself to cope with your own emotions, your own feelings, should that situation that you do not want to happen have to happen anyways? In other words, if you feel powerful in your life overall or in general, or in that domain or area that you're thinking about, if you feel truly powerful, if you feel empowered and in control to be able to influence the outcome in the way that you want, or to be able to accept the outcome should it play out in a way that you do not want, which means to be able to cope with your emotions and your feelings, to remain grounded and centered, calm and stable, with clarity and wisdom. If you have that belief in yourself, then why would you need to overthink about it? You see? So this leads to the next connection. The reason why, number one, you can't fall asleep at night is because you've got too many programs running on in your mind. You're overthinking. Overthinking is a expression or a symptom, but I don't want to use the word symptom. Maybe the word expression is a better one. Is an expression of wanting or desiring control over the situation. And we desire excessive control over something perceived to be the cause of our concern and worry only when we do not feel confident in our emotional ability to manage it or to accept it. And that is why you struggle to fall asleep. So insomnia is linked to feeling powerless or feeling out of control in relation to that thing which you're worried about. I'll give you a clear example. Let's say you have a wedding to attend next week, and your friend who is getting married has just asked you out of the blue to give a wedding speech. You've got to stand up in the middle of the crowd in a formal event, a wedding event, in front of 200 people and give a 3-minute or 5-minute speech, a best man speech, or whatever speech it is. You see, if you felt in control and powerful and confident in your ability to give and deliver that speech, then I guarantee you, you wouldn't lay awake at night worried about it. Worried about if this is going to be good enough for my friend, if the audience is going to judge me, what am I going to say, right? You only cause yourself to overthink in relation to how confident you feel in your ability to manage that situation. In this example, manage and deliver that wedding speech, or cope with your own emotions of anxiousness, of nervousness, which is normal as you step up on stage and deliver a speech and you do not know how the audience will receive it. If you felt powerful and in control of your emotions, despite what the audience would think, despite how other people would perceive you, despite how other people in the audience would perceive you or judge you, if you felt confident, grounded in knowing your self-worth, based upon your own internal appraisal of yourself, then by definition, why would you need to worry? You would be able to plan in advance, write a speech, try it out, practice it maybe an hour or two per night, a few nights in advance before the wedding day. And yes, you might feel a bit excited, you might feel a bit nervous, but you genuinely feel powerful, confident, and in control. And those thoughts about the wedding speech going wrong, or you saying something wrong and making a fool of yourself in front of 200 people, they don't have the power or the gravity to disturb you. So I hope this analogy or this example helps to illustrate what's going on here. We only ever worry about things in situations or in relation to our feelings, in relation to how powerful we feel about it, whether or not we feel in control in that domain of life or in that situation overall. You see that? So again, you have thoughts that you can't seem to get under control, and you're thinking about the work presentation next week, the wedding speech next week, and then it jumps to the financial issue at work, at home, and it jumps to the relationship issue with your romantic partner, and then you're worried about you gotta take the car to the service center, you've got to pay the electricity bills, and you're a bit overdue, and then you've got to attend your kids' school play performance, and at the same time is at the same day, or you have your presentation at work for a new project that you have to present, and you don't know whether or not you should say no to your kid or have the wife or have the husband go instead, and now you're back worried about your health, and then it's the car again, and then it's the future, and then you're stressed thinking about the past. You see what's going on here? And then you get disturbed by it, and then you look at the watch. It's been 2 hours. You try to get yourself under control. You try to force yourself to stop it, but forcing yourself like that directly only makes those thoughts pop up more. The key, therefore, is emotional skills. It's emotional control. Feeling powerful in your ability to sit with those thoughts and see them for what they are. See the thoughts for what they are. See them for the emotions that they generate, and not be under its grip, but be above it. And realize that the thoughts or emotions don't have power to control you until you believe that it does. It's just an experience, and you don't have to react to those emotions. You have the power to remain grounded, you see? And this is the key, which we will talk about in the next week's video. But to sum up real quick, the psychology of insomnia is actually quite simple if you think about it. You overthink, you overworry, and you try to control the night. You try to control and try to go to bed by trying to drive those thoughts out of your mind by force. That doesn't work. You try to perhaps continue to overanalyze because you think to yourself, okay, if I overthink this, if I keep on analyzing, I'll find some answer and it'll be meaningful and I'll feel in control and I'll go to bed. But that doesn't really generate anything meaningful. It only generates more problems, right? In other words, you overworry only in relation to situations where you don't feel powerful or in control. And feeling powerful or in control is an issue that has to do with our emotional self-awareness skills. It all goes down to this. It all goes back to this. You see, we're never really afraid of any situation in and of itself. You're never afraid of losing your wife, your husband. You're never really afraid of losing your job. You're never really afraid of getting a health issue. You're never really afraid of the financial problem. But what you're afraid of is the emotions that you would create around some situation. And we'll explore that in next week's video. How to get this under control. How to deal with these overwhelming thoughts, the currents of thoughts that come up and the emotions that come up that get you up lying awake at night. Take back control, take back power. Realize that you are way more powerful than you may have previously believed or realized. And we'll talk about that in next week's video. Thanks for watching. I hope this was valuable. I hope this sheds some light on what's going on here. I want to add one last point that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You see, the problem with insomnia is you struggle to sleep, and part of your desire for control means you might go on the internet and search for what's wrong with you. And then you come across multiple articles that says, oh, it's a chemical imbalance issue, it's a genetic issue, it's a hormonal issue, blah, blah, blah. But you see, even if that was true, the way that you understand that or hold on to that information, you hold on to it in an unhelpful way. So rather than that answer serving you, it now works against you. And now you can't sleep even more than before. You see what I mean? This is how the psychology of it works. Okay? So I reassure you, there's nothing wrong with you. It's a psychological issue. And these thinking habits are just that. They're just thought habits. They just come from belief systems. A belief is nothing more than a thought you keep on thinking. And overworrying is you're just in the habit of overworrying and overthinking about the same issue over and over and over again. It's a psychological issue, and you have more control than you may currently realize. So I'll see you next week in the next video. For now, share with me what you think, or if you're struggling with insomnia, share with me your experiences, and feel free to message me, and we can talk about it. I hope this was valuable. If you like it, please give it a like. It'll help me a lot. Please share the video, or share this with somebody who you think it would be helpful for them to see. I will see you next time. สวัสดีครับ